Mr. Okelo, is it true? No, my lord. I think otherwise.
April 2026. A quiet lakeside community in Ggaba, Kampala becomes the center of one of the most shocking crimes Uganda has seen in years.
We are in court. Could we please have some peace and
4 toddlers are killed inside a daycare. Days later, justice doesn't wait for a courtroom. The courtroom comes to the community. This is the story of the open trial of Christopher Okelo Onyum, who is represented by Richard Kambuga and Sarah Awelo. The High Court judge presiding over the trial of Christopher Onyum is Alice Komuhangi Kauka. She's been appointed to oversee the proceedings, which are being conducted under a newly introduced community-based mobile court system.
My lord, no objection to the assessor.
Okay. And lastly, Mr. Okelo, do you have any objection to that lady advising the court?
The trial is held at Ggaba Community Church grounds near the scene of the crime to bring justice closer to the affected community.
And the doctor found that the cause of death for this child was hypovolemic shock due to deep cut injuries to the neck. The court admitted that evidence and marked it prosecution exhibit 1. The second postmortem report was in respect of the second child, and her name is again Roth Keisha Otim. This one is a female child, a preschool child, and she also had injuries. She had a 9 centimeter long open wound, also on the right side of the neck, and at 15 centimeter from the right heel. It was also longer than it was deep. And the cause of death for this child is also hypovolemic shock as a result of a deep cut wound that was on the neck. I also admitted that postmortem report, and I marked it prosecution exhibit number 2.
April 2nd, 2026. Prosecutors say Christopher Okelo Onyum arrived at the daycare posing as a parent. He had already visited once before. He knew the layout, he knew the routines. On this day, he paid fees using mobile money, gaining the caregiver's trust. Then, at some point, the gate was locked. Inside, 4 toddlers aged between 1 and 2.5 years were attacked and killed. The prosecution would later argue this was not random.
The third postmortem report is in respect of another child. He's called Seruyang Ignatius. He was found to be a male preschool child. He also had evidence of injuries, and it was 14 centimeter long. There was a 14 centimeter long open wound on the right side of the neck, and it was also longer than it was deep. It is located, or was located, at 69 centimeters from the right heel and 4 centimeters from the anterior midline. And the cause of death for this child also was hypovolemic shock as a result of deep cut injuries which were on the neck. This report was also admitted, and I marked it prosecution exhibit number 3. And lastly, it is a postmortem report in respect of another child called Odeke Ryan. This was a male preschool child, and he had injuries as well. A 9 centimeter long deep cut wound, which was located also on the right side of the neck in an oblique fashion, and it was at 60 centimeters from the right heel, stretching from the anterior midline. The cause of death was also said or found to be hypovolemic shock as a result of deep cut injuries to the right side of the neck. So all these children, as per these reports, died from deep cut injuries which were on the neck. So that is the evidence that we admitted before you came on board. And going forward, you're expected to listen carefully to every evidence or every witness that comes, so that at the end of the day, you're able to advise the court. And I also want to caution you that finally, when you are going to advise the court, you have to rely on only the evidence that you have had in court, not what you have had elsewhere.
April 7th, 2026. Onyum appears in court under heavy security. He does not speak much. The charges are read, 4 counts of murder. Because it's a capital offense, he's not allowed to enter a plea. He's remanded to Luzira prison. Outside the courtroom, anger is already building.
They are just normal people. They are not lawyers. They don't have any legal knowledge about the law, but they listen in. It is like they are representing the public. Can I say that they are presenting the views of the public? What can the public, can they, it's like they are putting the public to be part of the court session and to represent them, because the whole public cannot be here.
April 8th, 2026. The state formally commits the case to the High Court. Prosecutors begin outlining what they believe happened. The accused bought knives in advance. He rented a vehicle. He scouted the daycare a day earlier. This is now officially a case of alleged premeditated murder.
So you can tell the people what we have been doing about assessors and the need to have them.
Between April 9th and 12th, 2026, in an unusual move, authorities approve an open trial, a mobile high court. The trial will not take place in the usual courtroom. Instead, it will be held in Ggaba, near the very place where the children were stabbed to death.
What I can tell you, under the Trial Indictment Act, that is where we see the court assessors. If you look at Section 3 and Section 2 of the Trial Indictment Act, it talks about assessors. Assessors are always included in capital offenses. You can talk of murder and other offenses like can be defilement, murder, treason, terrorism, and other offenses. Those capital offenses, that is where we consider to see assessors coming in court to assess the evidence or to sit in court and assess the evidence in one way or the other. Other cases like civil, they don't. They are always in criminal offenses where they give their views and the judge in one way or the other accepts, or he may decide to say that no.
A large tent is set up, security is tightened, the community prepares to witness justice firsthand. April 13th, 2026, day 1 of the trial. A temporary high court is set up at the Ggaba Community Church grounds in Ggaba near the daycare. The court is packed. Families, residents, media. Christopher Okelo Onyum is brought in. He's in his blue jeans and a jacket with red stripes on the sleeves.
Good morning, Mr. Okelo.
Christopher Okelo Onyum is brought in. For the first time, he speaks to the charges. He pleads not guilty.
Mr. Okelo, is it true?
No, my lord. I think otherwise.
The prosecution opens its case. This, they say, was a calculated act. Prosecution delivered its opening outline stating the killings were premeditated. The accused scouted the daycare earlier. He paid fees via mobile money to gain access. Court set the stage for witness testimony to begin. On this very day, the Law Society wants the trial transferred to High Court premises, but the mobile court carries on anyway. April 14th, 2026, day 2 of the trial. The first witness is the car rental director who asked that his identity be concealed, so We won't mention his name. He's the manager of the company that rented a car to Okelo Onyum. He tells the court he communicated with Onyum via WhatsApp. The accused sounded calm, organized, normal. There was nothing unusual about the request, he says. He paid 400,000 shillings to hire a Toyota RAV4. He rented him a car, and there were no signs of distress, no signs of confusion. It was just a regular customer.
And he said he wanted to rent a house.
When was that?
It was in November.
Which year?
Mwaka ki?
Nangamba alina omwezi gumu naye mu wiiki emu babiri ajja kubalesa balance. Waliwo akaitawo wiiki emu n'aleeta.
April 15th, 2026, day 3 of the trial. The court begins to hear about the digital and forensic trail. Ggaba Daycare coordinator Annette Adong and caregiver Namutebi Phoebe narrate what happened and how they tried to get more help.
The second time when you are interacting with him, will I be right that you never bothered to ask for his identifications?
Twabimusaba naye yagamba the next time ng'alese omwana agenda kuleeta all the documentation ezimukwatako nezikwata ku mwana.
On the second day, when he came, they asked him for the documents, his identification documents, and then he said he would bring them when he's bringing the child to school.
So that gentleman, when he came back, he said he would bring the documents on the second day. When he's bringing the child.
Okay, let's proceed, Mr. Kumbuka.
In your testimony you gave here in this court, will I be correct to say you mentioned only one security guard?
Nti yandibadde mutuufu okuba ng'agambye nti wayogerako ewa security guard omu yekka.
He was among the first respondents.
Yali omuntu omu ku abo abaasooka okujja.
Okay. And that security guard was not at the entrance.
Kitegeeza security guard oyo teyaliiwo ku mulyango.
They keep on patrolling this whole place because we use a joint security.
Tebabeerawo nga batambula restaurant.
Answer my question.
Phoebe, you'll answer his question as he puts it to you.
Ojja kuddamu ekibuuzo kye nga bw'abeera akikubuuzizza.
And the question is, was he at the gates?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Nedda.
One said he chased her with a knife and she ran away. Investigators outline key evidence: mobile money records showing payment to the daycare, communication logs, CCTV footage placing Onyum at or near the scene. Okelo smiled following the dismissal of the prosecution application to tender in receipts and mobile money extracts to be regarded in court. The narrative becomes clearer. He didn't just arrive. He integrated himself into the environment before the attack. Court was adjourned after Okelo informed the judge he wasn't feeling well.
Of caretakers, other than caretakers, were there other staff?
Wayogedde ku abo abaali balabirira obulabirizi abaana naye waliwo ne basitaafu abalala abaali baliwo abaali bakola emirimu egyali emirala.
Yes, waliwo coordinator ne cook.
Yes, there was a coordinator and a cook.
April 16th, 2026, day 4 of the trial, Thursday. There is heavy downpour and the public court is delayed and the suspect is escorted away. Moments later, Dr. Charles Kajoba from Luzira Upper Prison confirms that Christopher Okelo is in stable condition and fit to proceed with court proceedings. He explains that Okelo requires treatment for sickle cell disease and he had missed the medications for the past 2 months. However, he has since received the necessary medication and responded positively to the treatment. When the judge asked Okelo about his health and readiness for the day's proceedings, he confirmed that he was feeling well and able to continue with the hearing. Now, the prosecution introduces one of the most disturbing elements of the case, motive. They tell the court the accused was not diagnosed with mental illness, but allegedly believed in acquiring wealth through human sacrifice.
I've told the court that he was able to explain the reasons for killing the children as fortune hunting or enrichment. According to your assessment, was this reason that he gave for the killing of the children caused by any abnormal mental state?
My Lord, I would answer no, because...
Let me understand the question, Mr. Mwaganya. What is the question?
My Lord, the question is that the doctor says the accused told him that the accused was able to explain the reason for killing the children as fortune hunting and enrichment. So I'm requiring the doctor, in his perspective and out of his assessment, could that reason given have been caused by any abnormal mental state?
Could it have been caused? Could it have been influenced?
Or influenced, my Lord, for lack of a better word.
Okay. Yes, doctor, can answer that question.
My Lord, no. The reason is for killing the children, fortune hunting or enrichment.
Then the landlords, 43-year-old Paul Mukasa Okelo's landlord in Bunga, Joel Makai Okelo's landlord in Chanja, narrated how he came to know him in March.
He came at home and he said he wanted to rent a house.
When was that?
It was in November.
Which year?
Mwakachi.
Nangamba ina omwezi gumu naye mumu wichemu babiri ajja kubalesa balance. Wali wakaita wichemu naleta.
Then after 1 week he brought the money.
Yes, my Lord, I'll confirm that I'm in a stable state of mind and body.
Yali muntu mulungi nnyo. Yali ng'aveewo bulungi n'ababuuzaako abaana bato bawe bali awo n'abakwatakwatako ndi n'agenda.
The victims were not random. They may have been chosen. Court is adjourned to the next day, Friday, at around 4 p.m.
I applied to tender the tenants agreement, the LC introduction.
April 17th, day 5, Friday, court resumes with cross-examination of Joel Makai, the 32-year-old manager of Sanswiza Estates Limited, Okelo's current residence in Chanja. As the trial continues, the court is expected to hear from additional investigators, possible eyewitnesses from the daycare. There's also a critical tension forming. Reports suggest the accused made a confession statement earlier in the investigation, yet in court he maintains not guilty. The question now becomes, which version of events will the court believe? In a tent, in full public view, a community watches as the justice system works through horror, grief, and unanswered questions. The trial of Christopher Okelo Onyum is still unfolding, and until the final judgment is delivered, the truth itself remains on trial. You've been listening to the New Vision CSI Crime Stories podcast.
Mr. Okelo, is it true?
No, my Lord. I think otherwise.
We are in court. Could we please have some peace and